Hey, well, good afternoon. You probably know where I'm at. It's only one place in the church that you can sit and shoot video and have Jesus looking over your shoulder. Last time with the fire behind us, we were in the refuge. It's the only fireplace in the church, and it was kind of neat to be over there and to pray for our students while we were there. And so today we're in a different place. It shouldn't take you long to guess where we are. But this is Thursday of Holy Week. And so a lot of things happened on this day in Holy Week. Jesus was in Gethsemane, Peter's denial, he was agreed to all that stuff. But what I want to hit on in our time together today as I sit at the table with Jesus over my shoulder, is I want to talk about the Last Supper that they had together. Kind of that Maundy Thursday element that we don't talk a lot about in the Baptist tradition. In fact, I had never even heard of it till I went to seminary and began to see what it was. And in the churches we've been part of through the years, some of them have done some things with it, I know, and some have not done anything, and some have done a lot of things with it. Here in town, I know usually the Presbyterian Church, the Christian Church, and the Methodist Church downtown all kind of do some Holy Week activities together. But with the situation we're in with the pandemic, that none of that's happening this year. But it's just a Holy Thursday. It's nothing to be concerned about. But I wanted to look at today about what this last meal they had together. So we're going to read today from Matthew chapter 26. On the first day of the Feast of the Unleavened Bread, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Where do you want us to make preparation for you to eat the Passover?" He replied, "Go into the city to a certain man and tell him, 'The teacher says, my appointed time is near, and I'm going to celebrate the Passover with my disciples at your house.' So the disciples did as Jesus had directed them and prepared the Passover. When evening came, Jesus was reclining at the table with the 12. While they were eating, he said, 'I will tell you the truth. One of you will betray me.' And they were very sad and began to say to him one after another, 'Surely not I, Lord.' And Jesus replied, 'The one who has dipped his hand into the bowl with me will betray me. The Son of Man will go just as it is written about him. But woe to that man who betrays the Son of Man. It would be better for him if he'd not been born.' Then Judas, the one who would betray him, said, 'Surely not I, Rabbi.' And Jesus answered, 'Yes, it is you.' And while they were eating, Jesus took bread, gave thanks, and broke it, and gave it to his disciples, saying, 'Take and eat, this is my body.' Then he took the cup, gave thanks, and offered it to them, saying, 'Drink from all of it, all of you. This is the blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. I tell you, I will not drink of this fruit of the vine from now until the day when I drink anew with you in my Father's kingdom.' And when they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives," which is really another place that they went on the Thursday before the Easter narrative. So some things that are happening here. Jesus had that last meal together, and that's one of the things about Easter. It's one of the times that is growing up that we gathered as family. We've talked about this some before, and during the service, going to grandma's house. We come some, but on big occasions, everybody would come. Christmas, Thanksgiving, sometimes on Easter, everybody would gather. It's one of the times that we got together as a family. We're not doing that this year. It's just different. It's just where we live. And I know a lot of you won't be having your typical family Easter gatherings because it's just not the time to do that. But because we know, but the last meal they had together, some similarities in what we do. They made preparations ahead of time. They knew what they needed. They went and found a place, and then they, you got to decide who's going to host it and who's going to bring what. And Jesus took care of that. He probably go into the city, and there's a man there tell him this is what we want, and they made the preparations there. Also, there were some very honest conversations that happened around that table. That tends to happen sometimes around Easter when families get together. Sometimes there's some very honest conversations about what's happening, especially if you're dealing with health issues or some other issues, and there's some family discussions that need to happen. And so they had that hard discussion that one of you is going to betray me, And you may not like it, but one of you is, and it's not me, it's not me. And it's, it's amazing how all of a sudden they turn into kids that it's me, it ain't me, it ain't me. And those kind of discussions that happen around the table. And I know this week you're going to miss your family. You're going to miss being together at Easter. We're going to miss being with ours. But let me tell you, that those of us who are believers still gather around the throne of Jesus and remember what he did. So let me encourage you this Easter weekend, as you celebrate, whether it's by yourself or just with your group that's in the part of your family that's in your house that you can be with, as we're practicing social distancing and safe at home, and that you take time to remember that Easter, as much as it is about gathering, it's not about us gathering together. It's about us celebrating the Christ who came and whose body was broken on our behalf and whose blood was shed for our behalf. And we take time during this Easter season to remember that the holiness and sacredness of Easter is in gathering together to remember what Christ did for us when he came. Hey, I look forward to the day that we can gather together as a church. Until then, let's keep gathering apart and praising Jesus who died in our place.